Hey there, everybody. I'm gonna do this. It's time for Off the Ledge. Today's Wednesday. It's May 21st. I live in the city, and there's a very loud piece of equipment behind me this morning. And I won't really be able to do too much video-wise. But I figure if I do this way, I can get you to hear me over the noise. So, let's get started. It's a bit much. Anyhow, okay, they stopped for now. I hope that you partook of my reading of the Biden-Harris administration's achievements between 2021 and 2024. It's mind-boggling. I know that I used the word historic very frequently and the word unprecedented very frequently. That administration knocked it out of the park every single week. If we don't get too inundated by all the craziness that's happening with this attempted authoritarian takeover of the United States of America and how horrifying it is, if we don't get too submerged in that, we can think back and remember the economy was always going gangbusters. The job numbers were just through the roof. People were having fun, they were flying here and there, they were going out to dinner. The general feeling was America's doing pretty good. I did not plan to to make 22 videos all over the length. The average was about 15 minutes each. I didn't even really label them. It got too complicated. I don't really have any interest in going back and categorizing everything, but what I did was I found that on Google. I just Googled it. Biden-Harris achievements. So go and look that up if you want to read along. I don't think it's entirely in order, but it's somewhat in order. But anyway, every single aspect of that list of achievements laid out in great detail. The current criminal administration that is working for the Kremlin, for Vladimir Putin, it's like they went through the Biden-Harris achievements with a fine-tooth comb and figured out how they could take every single achievement down and cancel it out. Hang on a second, I dropped a card. So, it's a 3 of Wands. That's interesting because that's about building something. We'll get to that in a moment. Phew, the noise stopped. Okay. Keep your fingers crossed. I just need 10 more minutes of quiet. That's where we were. And the good news about that is when we throw them out, when we throw the bums out, we're going to figure out how to do that. And I want to just throw this out there right now. I see a preponderance of people that are supposed to be experts caving in. So I guess they don't believe in the higher power and they don't believe in a collective consciousness. But this is science. It's not just airy-fairy woo-woo. We're made of energy. So don't listen to that. There are more of us than there are of them. And a lot of them, from my observation, that are all, oh, we're just going to be an authoritarian United States. A lot of them have written books about fascism. So they're not taking into account that this is not like every other country. Every situation is different. So anybody that tells you they have the goods and the goods are bad, turn it the hell off. I'm absolutely serious about that. Turn it off. Even if it's somebody that you like to listen to, because usually they have good news. When they start waxing all like, I guess we just have to succumb to fascism, turn it off. That's an assault. There's a lot of people I could kind of list in that category of oh my gosh, I can't believe, oh, you're being so realistic. Anyway, here we go. Ernest Holmes, who lived during World War I and World War II and wrote this pivotal book. I always talk about that. As the hart panteth after the water brooks, so panteth my soul after thee, O God. They talk kind of funny back then. This is from the book of Psalms. We realize that one of the reasons we may not have received a more definite answer to our prayers, more swift and specific manifestation from our spiritual treatment, is because we did not persist in our expectancy. I swear I didn't read this ahead of time. I did not persist in my expectancy. I hoped for rather than had faith I would receive the good I desired. Now we realize that there must be a certain acceptance and expectancy that is built upon or sustained by faith. Because of faith, we must accept the fact that our good is and persist in expecting its manifestation. Our faith sustains our expectancy at all times. Faith is an entirely individual and personal attitude. It flourishes within us. We realize that we may have as much faith as we will, regardless of anything and everything else. The only limit to what we may have is the faith that we have. As is our faith, so is our acceptance. And as is our acceptance, so is our expectancy. And finally, as is our expectancy, so is our demonstration or experience. Through the broad avenues of expectancy created within us by our faith, all good comes to us. And so it is. I think Ernest can hear me through the spiritual airwaves. It just keeps coming into my mind. There's even like, if you know the Beatitudes from the New Testament, blessed are those who have not seen but still believed. These are not times to be weak of heart. They are not. These are times to double down and to not ever, ever, ever let up. Our lives are too important, and our freedom is too important. So let's listen to Kathy Beale. And I want to also suggest that when you see a good news story, that you read it and you reread it. When you see activism on social media, you see people activating plans for more rallies. There's a huge one on June 6th. Reread them. Keep your thoughts going in a good direction. There was a time, and I wrote about it in my book, where when I was going through like a lot of poverty when I moved to Tennessee, I made myself a sign and it said, think positive. It's the only tool you've got. I wrote about that in my book. Okay, Kathy Beale, astrology for May 21st. We're in Gemini now. Here we go.
This is Kathy Beale of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro Insight for May 21st, 2025. It's kind of a floaty day. You might be inclined to scroll and watch videos. You might be questioning your sanity just a little bit. You will probably be questioning a lot of other people's sanity. Engage in some harmless escapism. It's really okay. Big stuff is coming. Give yourself a little downtime. That's all for now.
That was a little nebulous. Big stuff is coming. So kind of, I suggest today just reflecting on and settling on who you are in this moment in history. Where you stand in this moment of history. Can I just say I'm grateful that the noise stopped? Yay! 3 Osho cards. Please know that my channel is dependent on donations financially, and any videos that I monetize, that's because I need to pay my rent. And thank you to all of you who are members. Thank you for booking sessions. PsychicAnnetteDion.com. 3 cards. What I've observed is the psychics and astrologers on YouTube are really putting in a lot of time for very little. So thanks for your support. Go on an adventure of the mind. Think impossible things. Think things that other people will say, oh no, you have to face reality. Nope. Think impossible things. Make that your theme for today. Think, quote unquote, impossible things. Because impossible things that people might call impossible are very possible. So it's like, according to whom, right? Do we think we can save our democracy from this barrage of cruelty? Go into the mind, not too far. Settle the mind. Understand that this life is, I mean, we live in interesting times where like anything could happen. And here we have the trust that we were just talking about, and Ernest Holmes was talking about, and I keep getting that message from my guides. Talk to everyone about faith, F-A-I-T-H, faith. There comes a time in our human existence that that's what we have to count on, right? And then we get to see how far that gets us, and it can get us very far. Sometimes it's a good idea to write down all the miracles that have happened in our lives and say, and just look at the list and say, see? How did that happen? How is that possible? We continue to send Joe Biden, who worked his butt off for this country. We continue to send him lots of love and light and prayers. Pray today that the cruelty bill doesn't pass. That the cruelty bill gets stopped in its tracks. Let's keep visualizing it being stopped in its tracks. And let's keep visualizing, you know, the world becoming more democratic and America restoring her democracy. We can do this, but we can only do it if we can believe. All right? You got to believe. So I'll come back later with a pop-up, and it is Wednesday, so we'll have PNN tonight. Please tell people, show up for PNN for the live stream. We have a lot of fun, and we'd really like to have more people show up for that. It's a time to unify, to unite. See you soon. Thanks for all your support. Thumbs up, subscribe, become a member if you can. There's good stuff included. Namaste.